All right, good afternoon. I didn't get the cool introduction like everybody else, but
Sorry,
John Sadler, Field Forest Service. I'm sure you've all seen me here before. All right, so thank you, Hastings, for that wonderful talk. And I do have a little bit of that in mind, so I'll just kind of brush over it since you covered it so well. But so I'm going to give my regular talk. So I'm going to talk about our burn numbers for the year. Has anybody had any issues with their smoke screening or the web OBA lately? Yeah, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Yeah, she knows. Talk about prescribed fire enhancement program, like Mr. Rawson was talking about earlier. The new PM 2.5 NACs that Hastings so graciously talked about, and the regular burner review stuff. So this is our 20-year average. So as you can see, and this is fiscal year, so if you're at the fall meeting, it's the same slide. So it'll update in July. But so we're doing pretty good, 2.1 million acres. So from July to now, so July to February, we're up 10% from last year. So we're doing better this year than we did last year. So the number should be at least 2.2 or 2.3, I'm thinking, in July. So that's good. So give yourself a round of applause for that. And I was talking with Mr. Dolan at lunch, and he was saying, and I wasn't aware of this, but so last year, at the same time frame, we did 2.1 million acres in Florida. Nationwide, it was 10 million acres, and that includes the 2 million from Florida. So we had 20% of the acres burned nationwide was right in Florida. So that's pretty impressive. And if you include Georgia and Oklahoma, we're looking at like 60% of the acres in the nation. And if you include all of the Southeast, it's probably like 80 or 90%. So we definitely do our part here for that. All right, so web OBA and smoke screen issues. So starting basically February 1st is where we kind of pinpointed it. If you go into our website and click on a link for web OBA, you get this error. And the problem is up here in the address bar, and I'll zoom in here a little bit so you can see it. So and you can't see this if you're in Chrome. This is a screenshot from Microsoft Edge. Now, if you're using Safari, you don't have this problem. Or if you're using, I think, Firefox, it works on Firefox, or DuckDuckGo, you don't have this issue. But you got the HTTPS there, and the S stands for secure site. So if you get up there and you can edit the address bar and you just take the S off, then it should work, right? But it says not secure, but it's okay because it's just a web OBA. It's not a big deal. But that's how you fix it. Now, there are people that, and I've gotten a lot of phone calls and emails over the last weeks over this, and most people, they go in, they take the S off and it works. Some people, it doesn't work. I say, okay, delete your browser history. You can also go in and make it a trusted site if you know how to do that. I don't know how to do that, and it should work. There was one lady, no matter what we did, she couldn't get it to work. So I said, well, try, I think it's Firefox or DuckDuckGo. If you download those browsers, you should be able to get it to work. I talked with our IT folks about it, and it was some kind of security thing to do with Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge. They've changed their policies, and our server has a security certificate, but the actual application itself was written in 2003, so it doesn't, and it can't have a security certificate. And the amount of money it would take to fix that, we're not willing to put into it because it's like a .NET thing or something. Anyway, it's just not something that we're going to be able to do. And we're working on replacing this system with a new system, hopefully sometime this summer. So just bear with me through this burning season, and hopefully we'll have something better next year. So sorry. I told them, I was like, well, if I forwarded you all the emails and phone calls, they might be more inclined to fix it. But they didn't seem to like that idea either. All right, so prescribed fire enhancement. So yes, we got a big chunk of money this year. We actually changed it up a little bit. We offered the agencies the ability to do 2-year contracts. I mean, we've been doing the prescribed fire enhancement for about 7 years. And one of the problems is it's a fiscal year money. So everything had to be spent by June. Sometimes I didn't know how much I was going to get until like October. So by the time you did contracts in December, you want everything done by the end of May. You know, there was a big chunk of the year where you couldn't do any work. So this year we offered the option to do 2-year contracts. And I think with Park Service, it's a $2 million contract and it's like 40 some projects over, you know, the next 2 years. So it's been a lot better this year for that. And these are just some projects. This is some roller chopping over in Mallory Swamp on Swanee River Management District. We got I think there might be some people in this room in this photo, but this is on St. Johns River. That photo there is a combination of St. Johns River folks and I believe some contractors that were doing some burning there. The photo is in that word. I'll let you, I don't know how you pronounce that one. La Clusa? Oh, you're in the photo. Yeah. And then the other one is a fire on the Julington Durban management area. So, and then this was some mechanical treatment done on Big Shoal State Park, some fuel reduction. So the money's being used for a lot of things, a lot of fire line installations. It's pretty popular. Mechanical fuel treatment, some contract burning. I know on our stuff we use it a lot to fund our helicopter burns. We get, you know, for helicopter fuel and things like that to help cover those costs. So it's been a pretty good program that's really helped a lot of agencies with their burn programs over the years. All right, 2.5 next. So this is something that Hastings didn't really cover, so I was going to cover it. So when we issue our burn authorizations, we look at the forecast for air quality. And if that forecast is 100 or above, or 101, so if it's in the orange, the unhealthy for sensitive, then we won't issue for that area. Now, when they lowered the NAC, when they lowered the threshold from 12 to 9, it actually changed. I don't know if this works or not. So between good and moderate, so the previous category was from 0 to 12, now it's 0 to 9. So that number lowered. So what that means is you're going to see more moderate, more yellow on the map than green. Now, when we're issuing, we don't distinguish between the yellow and green, but we do between the yellow and orange. And that number did not change. So the top end, the 35.4, didn't change. So it shouldn't really affect our issuing of burn authorizations, these new numbers. Now, what it will do is when you look at the forecast map, and this was the forecast for today, I did this yesterday. So you see the green and the yellow. The green is an option, you can turn that off. But what you'll see in the future, I'm guessing, is you'll see more yellow on this map, correct, Tammy? Yeah, so it'll be, you know, more likely to see yellow than green, but again, it shouldn't really affect our issuing levels. And this is I did a screenshot of the smoke and air map. Now this was yesterday, and there's no authorizations in this area today, basically from Tallahassee west, there's no authorizations. And he didn't talk to it, but sometimes you can see actually it shows smoke if they've got satellite detected smoke. And I had a really cool screenshot from last week and you could see the plumes, but I lost that photo somehow. But what's important is, you know, you see where these monitors are and you can, you know, avoid them, right? And we don't mark them as smoke sensitive on our map because that would be wrong. But a lot of them, like the one in Tallahassee, obviously it's in town and it's at a university. So the university itself is a smoke sensitive area. And this one over here is at an airport. So that's a smoke sensitive area. So they're generally in smoke sensitive areas already, but just, you know, be mindful where they are and, you know, just burn accordingly, I guess. Hey, Sasha. All right. Any questions on the air quality and our burning? Like I said, it really shouldn't affect it too much. All right, so burn review. So your burn status letters, I emailed a bunch out this year, and I really encourage people to go into Web OBA, and you know how to get there now. I showed you the workaround. Take the S off, but please go in. I'm gonna really do my best to add an email address for most folks. So that's a lot better way for me to get the information out to you than sending out the paper letters. So please go in and add that. I might even use what I got from the registration at these meetings and your customer number and put those two things together and put your email address in there for you. But I think it's just a better way for me to keep track of that. So, you know, as mentioned, you know, Greg was talking about, you know, we include attendance at this meeting as meeting the educational requirement for certified burners. And I don't think that's the only reason that people come to these meetings, but I think that's the reason that some people come to these meetings. But I see a lot of these folks here at every meeting, so I know that's not the reason that most folks come to these. So, but it is a good way to get that education in, get some fellowship. Yeah. You know, keep your contact information current. Again, you know, email seems to be a lot better than the postal service. And, you know, I send these letters out. I send them out every January, and as you know, Rawson thinks I like to do it, but I don't like taking people's certifications from them. You know, they'll get a white letter and it says they didn't do their burns. And they're like, well, I did 4 burns last year. And I'm like, well, none of them were marked as certified. And I'm like, well, I told them. So that's a whole big back and forth. You know, that's another good thing. If you use Web OBA to put in your authorization request, you can check that box yourself. That way, you know for sure that it gets marked as certified. So another reason to use the Web OBA. But, you know, make sure you let them know that you want it to be marked as certified. All right. So speaking of Web OBA, I try to promote it each time. There's a lot of good things you can do besides just put in a request for burn authorization. You know, you can check your status, right? You can log in here. I don't think you can read that, but it says I'm good till 2027 for both burning and education. So your information will be in there, same as mine. You can also update your contact information. This is where you would go in and put your email address in, like I mentioned earlier. If your email address is changed, which I get a lot of those, people have retired and their work email no longer is valid, so that gets kicked back, and I'll call them up and get a new number or new email. You can update your phone number, mailing address. I think you can update anything except your name on here. So, and then the burn participation log, I mentioned, you know, getting your burns marked as certified. The other way to maintain it is to participate in certified burns, so you can use this log to keep track of that activity. Just general things to remember. Yes, your prescription is a legal document. Very important that everything is complete and accurate, because if something were to go wrong, you know, they're going to want to look at your burn plan, and you want to make sure that the things that you have on there are accurate and they make sense and they are complete. You know, you have to sign it, date it, put the authorization number on there, bring it with you to the burn. It is currently required that you have a printed paper copy on site. We are looking at changing that so you can have an electronic copy, but that's for the future. And keep it in your files, you know, keep a copy of it. Because when you get your white letter and you say, hey, that burn was certified, I'll say, well, do you have a copy of the prescription that you wrote for that burn? And if you send me a copy of that prescription, then we can change it to certified in the system. And again, tell us that you're doing a certified burn so you can maintain. And then the last one, and you know, we're all in this together, right? So, you know, you're doing these things, and I heard some people today talking about they were wondering why they didn't get a burn authorization today. And you know, we want people to burn as an agency because it helps us, you know, with fuel reduction, and you know, helps out the environment and ecology and ecosystems. But you know, our main priority is public safety. So when we issue we set the issuing levels for no burning. There's usually a decent reason for that. High winds, low humidity, maybe it's high fire activity. Some cases there may be staffing limitations. We might have a bunch of people assigned to another part of the state on fires, or, just limited ability to respond. So they might be more restrictive. Just keep that in mind, when we're doing that. That's another thing. If you log into Web OBA, I forgot to mention it, you can check the status. You can put in a county and you can see what the status is that day for the county. So, before you even call, you can see if we're even issuing. So, but, we're all in this together, and, as long as all of us do what we're supposed to do and don't smoke out the monitors and make us all go into non-attainment where we can't burn, I think we'll be okay. Let's see, some upcoming things. So Georgia recently announced a reciprocity for certified burners. So if you're certified basically in any state in the Southeast, you can go to the Georgia Forestry Commission website, just go to prescribed burn reciprocity, and you fill out an affidavit, get it notarized, send it to Ken Parker in Georgia, and you're certified in Georgia. So that's kind of cool. I might do that. Also, we got a certified pile burning class coming up in May. It's a virtual class. It's going to be May 7th and 8th. And the Central Florida, they have already announced their fall meeting. So that's nice. They're on November 8th. And if they're doing in-person only, they decided not to do a virtual option for this fall meeting. But I got an email on Monday, or actually Friday, I think, for that. So you can put your calendars on that if you're going to go to that one. It's in Kissimmee at their usual spot there at the Osceola Heritage Center. I was trying to talk fast to make up for Hastings. So if anybody has any questions in general, this is my contact information. I'll be glad to answer any questions now or through email.
Ask you about the reciprocity, or is it just affidavit swearing it on?
So the affidavit says basically that you are over 18, that you're currently certified in another state, and that you will abide by all laws and rules for burning in Georgia. So you get that notarized, and I think you have to mail an original copy of that and a copy of your certificate, and you send it in to them. And he's contacted me to verify somebody's certification through that. So